Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all well. I literally just finished filming the video. As you can see, I've got my makeup on and I was just sat on my bed oh, what can I do now? And I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't filmed the intro to this video. So I was like, quick, I have to do it now, quick. So yeah, today's video is going to be a review and first impressions of the, I have to read it off the box because the name's so long, the Nars All Day Luminous Weightless Foundation. So I'm just going to get straight to the review for you. So if you want to see a review of this foundation, then just keep on watching. So I am just going to apply it as I would do any other foundation. So I have already done my eyebrows and my eye makeup, and now I'm about to start my foundation. So this is what it looks like in its box and everything. It's just the standard Nars packaging, and this is the first time I'm opening it and I'm so excited. So this is what the bottle looks like. So it's just the typical matte lid, and then it's got this lovely frosted bottle with the Nars logo. I'll just get my Nars Sheer Glow so you can see the difference. So this is my Nars Sheer Glow, so you can see the difference in the style of the bottles, and the bottle on the Sheer Glow is completely clear, whereas this one's frosted, which I think is actually really pretty. I actually love the design on this one, the way it looks I think is so pretty, and I don't know, it feels like a little bit of an upgrade to the Sheer Glow bottle. I really like it. So you pull the lid off and you get a little pump thingy, which you don't get on the Sheer Glow, which is obviously amazing. So I'm just going to pop a little bit on the back of my hand, and I'm just popping it all over my face. And I don't know if I mentioned at the beginning, but mine's in the shade Light 4 Deauville. So I'm just continuing to pop that all over, and then I'm going to be using my beauty blender just to pat it in. Now, the first thing I'm noticing is I bought this in the same shade as my Sheer Glow, and the lady in the shop said it was going to be exactly the same shade, but it does look a little bit darker. The texture seems a lot more fuller coverage than the Sheer Glow does, and you can definitely see that it's a lot more matte. And I think that with the Sheer Glow, I tend to feel like I need quite a lot of product to get the coverage that I like. But with this, I think I may have put on more than I needed, because it seems to have a lot better coverage. You can still see that it's got quite a dewy finish on it like the Sheer Glow has, and it was so easy to blend. The coverage is so good on that, so much better than the Nars Sheer Glow. Actually a lot better than the Nars Sheer Glow coverage. So I think if you like the Nars Sheer Glow but you want a foundation which just is a little bit more flawless, I think you'll really like this one. So right now with the foundation completely by itself, I really love the way that it looks. It's got a very full coverage finish to it. I really like Nars Sheer Glow. I think it's a really pretty foundation, but I wish it had a little bit more coverage to it, and this to me feels like Nars Sheer Glow but with that more coverage and a little bit matte to it. You can still see it gives the skin a sheen to it like the Sheer Glow does, but it just looks more flawless and gives you more of a clean base to start building up your makeup on. So it's a lot less I don't think that this is a very natural foundation, to be completely honest with you. In terms of the colour, I bought this in the same, I think I mentioned a minute ago, I bought this in the same shade as I would normally buy my Nars Sheer Glow, which is Deauville, and the lady in the shop said that it would be exactly the same colour, but I don't think it is at all. I think that whatever shade you are in Sheer Glow, you should buy the next shade down, because this is a little bit darker than the Sheer Glow which I have already. It doesn't really bother me too much because quite often I will go for a darker foundation anyway. Deauville for me in Nars Sheer Glow is the exact right colour for me, whereas this is the next shade up, which I do sometimes, quite a lot of the time, especially in the summer or if I'm fake tanning or something, but so it doesn't bother me that much. But the finish of it is so pretty, and it blended out really easily with my beauty blender, which I love because I use that every day, and I just really love the finish of this. It looks so pretty. At the minute there doesn't seem to be settling in, I get a lot of foundation that settles in my laughter lines. It doesn't seem to be doing that just yet, but we'll have to see what happens, because it does feel quite a bit thicker than the Nars Sheer Glow, so I do think you might see a little bit of settling. But yeah, it looks really pretty so far. I'm really happy with it. So I'm going to continue applying the rest of my makeup. So I'm just going to pop on a little bit of my Collection Lasting Perfection concealer under my eyes. I love the way those two shades look together. Because the foundation's a little bit darker, it's just really complemented that highlight, the highlightedness underneath the eyes really well. And I'm setting with my RCMA No Colour powder, and I'm just buffing that away. The concealer has gone on really nicely. I feel like it complemented the finish on the foundation really well, and they've just blended in together really nicely. So I've just finished off the rest of my eye makeup, and I'm just going to set the rest of the foundation using that same RCMA No Colour powder. So at this stage it is actually starting to oxidize a little bit. I don't know if you can see it getting a little bit darker across here, which is obviously, I didn't experience that at all with the Nars Sheer Glow, so that's something to keep in mind with this, especially like in terms of the colour, because as I said before, this is the shade Deauville, and usually that's a perfect match for me. It's not like so dark though that I couldn't work with it, because I probably will still wear it, but that's just something like to keep in mind if you're wanting a perfect match for your skin tone. So I just want to see how bronzer applies on top, so I'm just going to take Hoola by Benefit, and I'm just doing what I normally do. I'm popping some in the hollows of my cheeks and blending it out. Now what I will say is that's blended out really nicely. Quite often I get dry patches across my cheeks, and you'll see that the bronzer actually clings to my dry patches, but that hasn't done that at all there. And I've gone in really quite heavy with the bronzer, and you can see that it's just not clung at all to any of my dry patches, which is amazing. But I do need to dull it down a little bit. And it's like, as I'm trying to blend in that bronzer as well, where I've gone a bit too heavy, it's just blended it out really nicely. I'm just going to pop a little bit on my forehead. I am really chuffed with how that's blended out my bronzer. I think it looks really pretty. I'm just going to pop a little bit of bakage underneath here. And then I'm just going to take a little bit of Luminoso blush by Milani and pop that on the apples and blend it into my bronzer. And then I'm just highlighting with the Jouer highlighter in the shade Citron. And they've all just applied really nicely on top. So I've just finished applying the rest of my makeup, and this is what the foundation is looking like at the moment. Sorry, I've just blow dried my hair, which is why it's like really fluffy. Yeah, I really love the way that it looks at the minute. I'm kind of like, I know I said the colour was a little bit dark, but now I've got the rest of my makeup on, actually I don't think it is any darker than probably a lot of other foundations which I use. I think I was just really expecting it to be the same colour as the Nars Sheer Glow Deauville, which it wasn't, but I still really like it. The coverage, as I said, is so beautiful. Like, I tend to find like round this side of my face here that foundations don't always give me the most coverage along here, and I can see that it's like giving me really nice full coverage all along here. As I said, it's not settling into any of my lines. I have got a few kind of blemishes around my mouth at the minute, and it's done I've not put any concealer over the top of them, and it's done like a good job of like, I don't know if you can see, of concealing them. Like, they don't look that bad, and all the rest of the products applied really nicely over the top. As I said, with my bronzer it just went on so smooth, which I was so glad about, because I find that some foundations can make my bronzer a little bit patchy. Yeah, I am just really happy with the way that it looks, and I just absolutely love the coverage on this. It's kind of like imagine Nars Sheer Glow with more of a matte finish and more coverage. Like, that to me is exactly what it's like. It's just so pretty, and it's still got like that dewiness to it, but it's just like matte as well. I don't know if that makes sense, but I just absolutely love it. The only other thing that took me by surprise was how liquidy it is. When I was shaking it, I could actually hear the liquid moving inside, which like I don't normally get with foundations, or I didn't get with the Nars Sheer Glow. So this one seems to be a little bit more like liquidy in formula, but as it went on, I think that because it was a little bit more fluidy, it made blending it out so easy. Like, it really did. With a beauty blender, it blended out so easily and so flawlessly, so I am just so happy with it. The brush which I love for foundation is this one, and it is the Morphe M439, and I love this with Nars Sheer Glow. So I mean, I did use my beauty blender today, but I can't wait to use it with this because this brush really buffs in your foundation beautifully, and I think that this will also be really nice for this foundation. But what I'll do now is I'll wear it for a couple of hours and then come back and I'll let you know how it's worn, because I feel like that will really give us a good idea as to how it wears and how it looks throughout the day. Hello again, so I am back with an update on how my foundation is wearing. Sorry if the lighting or the camera is a little bit different. I have obviously gone and come back a few hours later, so and the sun's gone now, which makes, I think, quite a big difference on my video. So sorry if that's changed a little bit, but I am back with an update on how my foundation is doing, and to be honest, it's lasted pretty well. It's been on for about 5.5 hours now, which for me is like a pretty standard amount of time. I would normally have it on for a bit longer, but it's getting pretty late now and I like want to go to bed. So but this is what it looks like. I think it's looking really good. Like, it's held up really well. The main thing that I'm noticing is that it has settled into my lines a little bit. I will zoom in a minute so you can see a little bit closer up, but it's settled a little bit into my smile lines, and it is starting to kind of settle into a few of the pores around my nose. I have also noticed, like, as I look closer to my face, that there's some coming off on my nose a little bit. Other than that, it's still covering my blemishes quite well. I've still got quite a lot of coverage down here, which is something that I struggle with, mainly because I touch my face a lot. But it's still covered down there well. On my forehead is good. I do tend to get a little bit of creasing here, where the lines are on my forehead, but they look okay. And everything else, like, you can see how well I've not touched up my makeup at all. I've just put a little bit more lip gloss on. So all this is from 5.5 hours ago. So you can see that my blushes lasted really well, my bronzers lasted really well. I think my highlight has lasted well, so it's all sat on there quite nicely, and it doesn't feel like it's really sunk into the skin or disappeared at all. I mean, I can't speak for what would happen if I kept it on for another like 5 hours, but as of right now, I think it's lasted really well. It's definitely the type of foundation which I would like lean towards for when I'm at work and I need my makeup to last really well, because it seems to have lasted pretty well, to be quite honest with you. Yeah, I'm really happy with it. So I'm gonna zoom in so that you can see exactly what I mean. So now we're really up close and personal, but I'll let you have a little look. As you can see here, it's kind of settled into these lines, and then it's kind of sunk into the pores around my nose a little bit, and I've lost a little bit of foundation on my nose. But everywhere else is really looking good. So before I go, I thought I would do a little bit of an overview of like what I thought of the foundation on the whole. I bought mine for £34 from Space NK, and to me that is quite expensive. I know it's not the most expensive foundation in the world, but when you think of all the other great foundations which are a little bit lower in price, it is, I think, more on the higher end. Do I think it's worth it? I think it's a beautiful foundation, and I probably, you know, as long as I get on with it now, the more I use it, I think I probably would re-buy it. But I do think that there are probably lots of other lovely foundations which are a lot more affordable than this one, which would do you just as well, if that makes sense. So it's kind of one of those things. I think I would recommend it, but there are also lots of other foundations which are a little bit cheaper, which I think are lovely too. So it's one of those, if you want to spend the money, then I would say yes, spend the money, buy it, try it. I think you'll really love it. But if you're thinking that's way too expensive, I'd say there are lots of other lovely foundations out there as well. So that is the end of today's video. As always, thank you so much for watching and for clicking on this video. If there is anything at all you want me to do on this channel, every time I say that I feel like I'm being rude. But if there is anything you would like to see on this channel, please just leave me a comment down below and I'll try and get it done for you. And yeah, thank you so much for watching again, and I will look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye!